Hello, I'm Brandon.
I'm Verity.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Asher. And welcome to episode 5 of the What the Friday podcast. Thanks for joining us and continuing to support us on our podcast journey. This is the podcast where we shine a light on the essential issues that impact teens and young adults.
Like worrying about exams, getting a job, or whether Greg's has run out of steak bakes. In today's episode, we are going to do something a little bit different.
We mentioned shining a light, and as part of this podcast, we'd like to invite young people from all backgrounds and walks of life to share their own unique stories and experiences. As of March 2023, there are approximately 82,000 young people in care in the UK, and this number has been rising steadily over the past decade. Whilst the majority are aged 10 to 15, there are a significant number of teenagers aged 16 or over.
The main reason children are taken into care is abuse or neglect, and this accounts for 63% of cases. Other reasons can include family dysfunction, family stress, or absent parenting. 70 to 75% of looked after children are placed with foster families, whilst others are placed in residential homes, secure units, or independent arrangements for older teenagers such as hostels or hotels.
Next week is National Care Leavers Week, and as part of a National Lottery Awards for All project, Graham from Youth Social has been interviewing young people in care in order for them to tell their story and hopefully provide guidance for other young people in similar situations. The interviews from the care leavers are that powerful that we wanted to share them on our What the Friday podcast. Some of their names have been changed, but these are all real stories from young people in this area.
Hi, I'm Josh, I'm 22 and I'm a care leaver. Year 5, my mum died. I seemed to deal with it okay. I had a very good support system, and then moving into high school, I feel like that's when I was knuckling down and I seemed to be okay with it. I started off year 7 as very able academically. I was smart. I used to read Harry Potter books just for the fun of it. I was never on a phone or anything. I played games, of course, but when it came to my academic life, I was just never letting it go astray. I always stayed on top of it. So smashing books, smashing school, and the teachers said I was, cheeky, and yeah, I'd act out a bit and, I'd mess about, class clown sort of thing, but at that point, they just put it down to, he's a cheeky lad. And they really had a lot of time for me. And with that, there's sort of a transition between year 9 and 10 where I start twigging onto the fact that I can get away with quite a bit here, What they used to say in all the meetings is they used to say, yeah, he's doing well, it's just this. And then it'd be the fact that, he's had a hard life, or he's going through this, he's in care. So I'm listening to this, and over time it just gets to the point where I'm like, I guess I don't need to be doing it,
Are you quite academic at this point then? Are you doing well at school?
Yeah, in all round subjects I was doing really well, and sport as well. I was doing football, I was keeping healthy. It became a bit of a chore to me to do work when I already was able to do the work that was set out in front of me.
Was that just that you were finding it really easy, didn't particularly need to work hard to learn it, you were taking it all on?
Yeah, not extra work. I had a thing about homework, I never did homework. I sort of rebelled against that. But when work was put in front of me, once I got the hang of it, and it didn't take long, then I could do a test on it and I'd be okay.
It seems like your typical report would be, he's doing really well, but he could do so much better if he knuckled down to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because of your circumstances of being in care and upbringing,
Mm-hmm.
that was being presented as a potential excuse for why you were not doing it? Or was it the care that was, and the background that was actually causing you to not work and slightly go off the rails?
At this point, I didn't know. I was just in high school and doing whatever. I was laughing while you were saying that because, of course, if I could have seen the bigger picture back then, I'd have knuckled down and I'd be in a top spot in life right now, probably, And I feel like that's That's ironically what every person my age will actually say. But yeah, I was just living life, didn't see the bigger pictures. I mean, I never played on it. I never turned around and said, oh, you know, I'm in care, this, that, other. But it's just how I was, and by nature, what I was like.
I'm Sophie. I live in Calderdale, Halifax. I'm 18 and I'm going university in September.
So when you look back on the life that you've had, and I guess it's only the last 5 years really,
Yeah.
even though it sounds like a lifetime, is there anything that when you look back on that you wish you'd done slightly differently, or?
Like, I probably could have handled stuff a bit different. Like, I probably didn't need to drink all the time, if you get me. And then I probably could have, like, kept out of being with a bad crowd. And then I feel like going missing, I could have handled that a lot different. Like, I could have, like, been more mature as I was doing it.
Ultimately, it seems like your entire journey
Yeah.
is as a result of that relationship with your mum, and
Yeah.
that if your mum hadn't kicked you out, presumably there's a whole different path that you could have taken where
Yeah.
you'd have stayed with your original friends, you'd possibly have done well at college,
Yeah.
you'd possibly have gone and done health and social care stuff. I mean, you might actually just be at the same point. You might
Yeah,
just have,
literally.
you just seem like you've
Would have been
acquired
easier.
it might have been easier, and you wouldn't have acquired all this incredible life experience that you've
Yeah.
got to, which I'm sure has been very difficult and very challenging. But now you have reached this point where if you'd gone down this other path, you would actually only be going to university.
Yeah.
Now you've managed somehow to be able to catch
Like,
up.
redirect
Yeah.
myself.
How do you think you've managed to do that? Because that must take some proper strength that you've got in order to be able to get your life back on track like
I
that.
don't know, I think it was just a motivation that I always wanted to go to, like, Calderdale College in a way. And it's like, in the way I kind of looked at it, I always wanted to be like a normal kid. So it's kind of like normal kids, they go through school, they go to college, and then most of them do go to university. So it's kind of like I've always wanted to be that normal kid. I didn't want to be that messed up kid that's in care.
Hello, I'm Matt, I'm 19 and I live in Meltham.
You said at the beginning that you left home at 17 and became homeless. Was there a situation at home that caused you to leave?
Yes, college was more relaxing for me. I mean, the way they do the timetables is very, very hard to maintain concentration because you're not in a lesson, bam, bam, bam. It's more you're in a lesson and then you have to wait 4 hours, then you have another lesson. It was quite hard for me to keep up, and my parents weren't happy with me, and then the college wasn't happy with me, and it just wasn't going well. There was no happiness, and I was just feeling that I'd go from college being okay, happy, speaking to people, then having to go home and not being happy. So I told my parents I didn't want to live there anymore, and I got a message that I wasn't coming home, and then I had to sort myself out from there.
Sorry, you got a message from your parents
Yes,
saying
a
that you
text
were...
message.
You get that text message. Was this something that had been building up for a period of time? What was going on in your life at that time? Because I'm guessing that wasn't just a text message that came out of the blue.
Well, I said that I didn't want to live there, but the only time that we were all like happy together, there was 3 of us, and it was either 2 against me or 1 against me and then the other against the other, and it was all, we never really had like where we were all happy. Holidays was fine because there was no rules, they had no stress at work. We'd both having really big jobs. They needed to work, and I had high school where I had to work, and it was just tiring, and just sometimes I'd snap if I was angry, and then we'd just argue, and then it just wouldn't go well. I don't really open up to anyone. If I have a problem, I just keep it inside. So I think maybe if you talk about your problems, no matter how big or small they are, you may be able to get help from them, you may be able to not have them anymore.
Would you say that you were quite selfish then, in that it was very much
I
about
would,
you rather than maybe other people?
Yeah, it was more for me, because if I wasn't happy, why should I make someone else happy? That's what I always thought. But maybe if I made someone else happy, I'd feel happy about making them happy.
At 16, you've got everything that a large number of people have. You're in a family.
I had a family.
You've got family. You've got qualifications.
Everything.
You've got prospects. You've got the whole future ahead of you.
Yeah, I had finances. I
Yeah.
had everything. I had anything I wanted.
So 3 years later, that's been taken away from you. What do you think the future holds for you? And do you think that you'll be able to get back on track, or when will you
I
get
will
back
never
on track?
get to the financial status of that. I won't be going on holiday, but I have a feeling that when I get myself up, I'll feel happy. I'll be able to get into a relationship, maybe start a family of my own. I just have to think about what went wrong and hope it doesn't go wrong again.
So anybody that's listening to this, what advice would you give them if they were sensing that they got some issues at home, or they had just found themselves in a similar situation to you did in terms of leaving home?
Well, I think if they're in a situation at home and it hasn't started with the leaving, I think you should try be nicer with your parents. Maybe just try really hard to do as they say, because everyone likes someone to do as they ask. Maybe if you feel like you're in the right and they're in the wrong, just accept it, say sorry, move on. Just maintain a relationship with your family, don't push them away, because they're the people that should be caring for you, and they're the people that you're closest to. They know you, you know them. So just maintain a relationship with your family.
Thank you very much for your time today and speaking to us, and wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
I'm Louis, I'm 19.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience in care? How did it start? How's it going and so on?
I think it started when I was like 6. I wasn't immediately at where I was now. I don't remember too much, but I remember being locked in a room. I don't remember him really being that good, and I had like nowhere to use toilets, so I know it's a bit too much information, but that's really all I can remember from back there.
How has your experience been with your foster parents?
Yeah, it's been good, I'd say. I mean, they treat me like family.
We've talked to a number of people as part of this and working with a number of young people in care, and a number of those have negative experiences in care. What you're saying is it's actually been a good experience.
I'd say the best I could have probably got in foster care. I'd say I've been lucky. Like, this is the closest I could have had for like a normal life, so I'm not complaining.
Why do you think it's been a good experience for you when maybe it's not been a great experience for other people?
I wouldn't say it's just about the foster care. It also has to be like the foster child. I wasn't rowdy. I didn't really like say, oh, can I please have this, I don't know, Louis Vuitton handbag, whatever the hell. I don't really care about clothes, didn't really care about anything. And I like them, it clicked. I think that's what really needs to happen. You guess you need to click with your foster carer, with your foster child. I'd say it's half and half, the foster carer and the foster child.
I'm Josh, I'm 24.
So how old were you when you were taken into care?
I was 11, 12 years old when I got put into care.
And do you remember why that was? Were you living with your mum and dad at the time? Or?
I was living with my mum, who was a single parent of 2 children, but she was unstable enough to look after us both, so we had to get put into care. I've been in care since I was 11 years old, up to 21.
Were you moved into foster care? What was your living situation?
I was in foster care. I lived with foster parents in their home, but I got moved from pillar to post all the way through the system.
So you were living in a number of different properties with a
Yeah.
number of different families at this point?
Yeah.
And are you living with your brother as well? Has your brother come with you at this point?
Yeah, my brother lived with me in the first placement, and then we got separated, and then we both went into different placements.
And is your brother older or younger than you?
My brother's 5 years younger than me.
Wow, so I guess when you were first taken into care, you got a big brother role then, looking after him.
Yeah.
Still too young really to understand what was going on at that point.
Yeah, just too young, so I didn't understand everything, what was going off, what's going on, where we're going, and stuff like that. I had to be the big brother and try to explain things best I can to him.
living on your own.
Yeah.
Did that present any challenges?
Hard, because I had to manage my wages, feel like to pay my rent, electric, gas, food, my bus travel, and then being able to have a little pot for myself, for me to spend.
Taking it as a whole, how would you describe your experience in the care system?
Tricky, hard, but altogether it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed being in the care system. I know I wasn't with family growing up, but the sort of things you get to do in care with foster parents. You get to go to a caravan every weekend. In holidays, you go for a week or 2 weeks. You get to go abroad. They treat you nice. They get you nice things.
I'm Odette, I'm 23 and I'm from Dewsbury originally.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your journey, your experiences in care?
My birth mother got pregnant with me. Social services didn't know about me for a while because my mother was a foster child as well. When you get pregnant in foster care, obviously they keep a bit of more of an eye on you than they would with a normal parent. And then spent 6-7 months in care and then being adopted at 11 months old to a family that had previously adopted my birth sister, but they struggled with my sister's behaviour. When they went into adoption, they were looking for a baby girl, which they could rear and make their child and stuff like that. When she got adopted, she was a toddler, which comes with its own set of, that child's already been through stuff, obviously for her mum to be taken into care, so it comes with that own set of problems, if you get what I mean. They wanted this little baby, which they didn't get, and then obviously they got offered me, the newborn, which is what they wanted, but they struggled with my sister's behaviour. So my sister ended up going into care when she was 12 and I was 7, and then when I became a teenager, I sort of started exhibiting the same sort of behaviours. I frequently ran away, was a fright with.
So did you run away because you didn't want to be in that family environment?
Yes, I just didn't want to be in the house. So my parents, it was, once I got home, I had my tea and I was locked in my room. Literally locked. They had a deadbolt on my door. So obviously I won't want him to come home. I don't fancy being locked in my room at 7 o'clock at night when I'm 14 years old. She went punch me, and obviously, as a teenager, if someone's riling you up and going punch me, sorry, I punched her, which I regret it. I shouldn't have punched her, but I do have to defend myself slightly.
What leads you to get to that point? We all get angry at times.
Even
so, that doesn't usually mean that you go around punching people.
It'd be little stuff, if you get what I mean, which then, instead of her de-escalating the situation, she'd escalate it, bubble me up, and then I've worked a lot on my anger the last couple of years. I was not right for doing what I did. A lot of lax looked after children do come with a lot of anger problems, mental health problems, and stuff like that. COVID saved me. I wouldn't have survived COVID if I'd have lived on my own. I wouldn't be here, I'll admit. My mental health was that bad at that point. I wouldn't be here right now if I hadn't been moved into that placement.
You're 21, you've come through COVID, you're still in your semi-independent living, you're thinking about what's next.
I went to uni. With my semi-independent placement, it was very pretty easy stipulated. It was either I get a job or I go to university. And the problem is for someone like me who's got a disability, I've got mild cerebral palsy, spastic hemiplegia. It's mild, but it still affects me in my day-to-day life and stuff like carrying stuff and walking through clearing. And I ended up doing the acting course. You're
now at Cambridge University. I'm
Yeah.
seeing you walking around with maybe not quite the mortarboard and the...
Well, unfortunately, it's the other university in Cambridge, not the quite as smart one, it's the ARU.
I don't think we need to tell anybody that. I think we should just tell everybody that you went to Cambridge University.
I think we can agree that those are really powerful stories and it puts into focus any minor problems that you might have.
Yes, it really makes you grateful for what you have.
If anyone wants to listen to the full versions of these interviews, where can they find them?
Well, if you search Youth Social Podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, you should be able to find them. We'll also put the links in the podcast description. We hope you found this special episode interesting. While statistically most young people won't go into care, we thought it was important to share their stories.
We'd like to thank Josh, Sophie, Matt, Josh, Louis and Odette for sharing their story so honestly. We'd also like to thank the Kirklees and Calderdale in-care teams, C&K and Youth Social for pulling everything together.
Next week, normal service will be resumed and episode 6 will drop next Friday. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you'd like to know what we are covering next week, keep an eye on our socials.
You can follow us on Instagram or TikTok, search What the Friday Pod to get news of forthcoming episodes or discover other ways that you can get involved with this podcast.
And finally, if you are a company or organisation and would like to get involved in the podcast in either providing opportunities for young people you work with or telling people about your beneficial services, please get in touch.
Until next time.
Bye.